Hey everybody, and welcome to BrickVault. Today we are strolling through the Warhammer 40k universe with the custom LEGO Skorpius in both the Dunerider and Disintegrator versions. This modular model is designed by the builder Flying Waffle, and essentially the Skorpius is a big, reliable, heavily armored hovercraft that can offer a wide variety of support to the Skitarii, aka cybernetic warriors. In the open-top Dunerider version, it's a bit faster and carries more personnel, perfect for charging the enemy and unloading a fighting force with the intent to overwhelm. The Disintegrator variation, on the other hand, replaces its personnel abilities with mo armor, mo weapons, and mo heavier weapons. It is just a beefier war machine in general. Essentially, it's better for more methodically destroying your opponent from afar to mid-ish ranges. Now, before I get into the details of this custom model, first, I'd like to say that if you want to build this for yourself, the instructions can be found at our web store, BrickVault.toys. With each purchase comes that PDF step-by-step building guide and a parts list for fast ordering your pieces online. The models are physically tested here in real life. We test the instructions for the ease of the build, and the parts for the model are also chosen for availability. Buying instructions from us is an excellent way to help support the channel and the talented designers we work with, like Flying Waffle. He has some amazing creations under his belt already, like the very modular Dune Crawler from the same universe, plus the Snowspeeder, Colonial Viper Mark II, E-Wing, and a variety of different speeders. Link is in the description below if you want to get started. And now let's take a closer look, I think first at the Disintegrator version, because this is the one that's built when I'm filming. It's a bit reminiscent of an APC-shaped armored vehicle with pretty distinct hovercraft elements included on top of it. In the rear, you can see those dual fans with rudders for steering, very much like a hovercraft, and a rounded border all around the base, which would be acting somewhat like a skirt, let's say, for the air cushion. There are some really nice subtle shapes on the model here when looking at the overall foundation of the body. I like those nearly seamless bits of integration for the dual tower mounts on either side, and there's also some very minimal tapering of the walls as they lead towards the front. Now, the front for sure is the area that has by far the most distinct set of looks for either version of the build. So for the Disintegrator, we've got this hefty grille, and then right above is the forward pointed bit of armor. It's almost like a nose, and on either side there are rows of disruptor missiles. On the very top, you can see a small viewport that sticks out just in front of the massive swiveling head with tilting cannon. So far, you've seen it with what's called the Beleros energy cannon, but it can also be swapped out for the much more imposing Faramite cannon. In fact, I'm just going to switch it out from here on out. This swiveling head seats a single fig, and there's also space for a half fig to stick out of this observation post on the other side. In general, I think the Disintegrator excels at putting out that super brutal post-apocalyptic vibe that is so common in the Warhammer 40k universe. And now I think it's worth checking out the transformation, and we're going to turn it into the Dunerider version of the Skorpius. Here, I think it looks a lot more like an amphibious landing craft. The transformation itself isn't what I would call a basic play feature, quote unquote. Like, it doesn't just fold away and all of a sudden it's a different model. There are some fairly major differences between the two versions, so some disassembly is required, but it feels a lot more like removing and adding modular chunks of a model, and you never really do like major part breakdowns. It's not all that much actually to switch them out. You essentially take off the top armor, that grille assembly with also a little bit of side armor is also gone, and we've also removed this small dish for one of those turret tops. In their place is now a small dual heavy stubber turret. This thing didn't have space to really swivel around when you have the Disintegrator version of the model built, and then the top armor and front armor has all just basically been replaced with a ramp that can drop down. This is also where I say it's very similar to a landing craft. Here you get a much better look at the interior, where you can have a fig standing or posing looking like they operate either gun on either wall, and there's also space to fit several more figs that house a strike force. Oops, almost forgot to add this little bit of internal detailing. This little chunk comes off when you add the top armor so it can line up flush. I suppose the one detractor to the transformation function really is the fact that there are several steps, and there is potential that you may forget one or two of them along the way. When you drop the ramp, this little assembly is supposed to be removed. It looks good when it's up, but it has to be taken out for the ramp to go down. And let me just say right now that I'm posing this model with just some Hands of Time Ninjago figs. There is included with the instructions, builds, and parts list for more accurate Skitarii guys, but thematically, I thought these Vermilion Warriors line up pretty well with whatever I wanted the army build theme to look like, and also these figs are pretty easy and much cheaper to source. So if I want to do army building later, I can probably get a few more guys without too much extra cost. Anyways, when you remove all the guys from the interior, you can see these details a lot better, and you can really see a lot of effort went into the building out of a clean, uninterrupted set of details that simply can't be missed on the inside, and especially as you move around the build. The techniques needed to complete this model are fairly advanced, certainly meticulous, so you have been warned it's probably not a novice build, but I think what you get in return is not just a good-looking model, but something that also has a fairly decent amount of stability. It can be picked up pretty easily and handled without fear of weird breaks or time-consuming rebuilds. So all in all, I'd say it's a very well-balanced model in terms of the details you get and your ability to interact with it. Now remember, if you wanted to build this custom model out for yourself, the instructions and parts list are available at BrickVault.toys. The parts lists have been separated in 3 different ways that let you choose between the Dunerider or the Disintegrator or the combo like the pieces you see here. There are also part lists that outline some of the different kinds of recommended figs, so everything is fairly complete in terms of a setup. Anyways, I mentioned before that Flying Waffle also did the Dune Crawler that has a similar modular setup with weapons, and it's also worth mentioning that the designer Jarek has a modular setup for his Warhammer 40k build, the Dreadnought. Let me know what other types of models you would like to see us build in the future. If you enjoy our content, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.